Hello students, we are learning lesson 6 tissues and this is video 3 of the chapter. Today we are going to learn about epidermal tissue. Previously we have learnt about the simple permanent tissues, that is collenchyma, sclerenchyma and parenchyma, and now we are going to learn about another tissue that is called epidermal tissue. Epidermal tissue, as the name suggests, epidermis means the outermost surface of the body. So epidermal tissue is present on all the plant organs and on the whole surface of the plant body. That means on all the surfaces of the organs also and on the whole surface. For example, it is present on the surface of the leaf, present on the surface of the root, surface of the stem, everywhere. On all the surfaces it is present. Let us see about the structures of the cells of the epidermal tissue. Epidermis is usually made up of a single layer of cells. The tissue has only a single layer. On the surface only a single layer is there. In some plants of dry habitat, means if the plant is of the desert plant, then the epidermis is thicker so that the lot of water loss is not there. Otherwise, if the epidermis is thinner, then through the stomatal pore the loss of water will be there. So it is thicker to prevent the water loss. Epidermal cells are relatively flat in structure. The outer and the side walls are thicker and the inner walls are thinner. And function is it protects the surface from mechanical injury. So it forms a continuous layer without intercellular space. That means in between the cells there is no space so that microorganisms cannot enter inside it. So it protects it from the mechanical injury as well as also protects from the parasitic and the fungal infection. It also protects the organ from the water loss. These are the functions. Protects all the parts from the mechanical injury, from the water loss and from the attack of parasitic fungi. Now different surface layers have different epidermis. For example, they are present on the root, stem and leaves, as I told you. So let us see the function. Epidermis of the leaves has the stomatal pore. So it helps in the gaseous exchange. That is, it exchanges oxygen and carbon dioxide through the stomatal pores of the leaves. Epidermis of the roots, it has root hairs, so it absorbs water and minerals. Epidermis of the stem forms a bark, that is thick coating on the outer surface of the stem, which protects the internal conducting tissues. It protects the xylem and phloem. Now one by one we will see each one. Epidermis of the leaf. Epidermis has the small pores called stomata. They have got small pores called stomata. So stomata are enclosed by two kidney shaped cells. We can see the diagram on page number 72. See below the activity 6.3, this diagram is given. These guard cells and epidermal cells. Guard cells and epidermal cells, these are the epidermal cells of the leaf. Okay. With that, now these are the epidermal cells and these are the guard cells. Kidney shaped cells are there. This kidney shaped cells on both the sides and in between one pore is there. So these kidney shaped cells of the stomata, this is stomata, whole thing is stomata, is called guard cells, and between the two guard cells there is a pore called stomatal pore. Through this stomatal pore, carbon dioxide and oxygen is exchanged. You need to draw this diagram, figure 6.5, and this B, diagram B you have to draw. The stomata are enclosed by two kidney shaped cells called guard cells. Exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen takes place through the stomatal pore, and transpiration also takes place through the stomata. Transpiration means, as we know, that leaves lose excess water through their pores. That is called transpiration. That also takes place through the stomata. Let us see the epidermis of the root. Now main function of the root is water absorption, and root commonly has long hair like parts, that is called root hair, and this increases the absorptive surface. So many root hairs are there, so all the root hairs are having small pores through which the water enters and the root absorbs the water. So this increases the absorptive surface. So many surfaces are available for the entry of the water. And then root hairs, how it is formed? They are the extension of epidermal cells of the root. That means the outer covering of the root is made up of epidermal cell, epidermis tissue, and this tissue extends by cell division, and then the extension form thin hairs called root hairs. In desert plant, the epidermis, that is upper surface of the plant body, is covered. It is covered with a thick waxy coating. Waxy means like wax like coating. It is made up of cutin. And cutin is a chemical substance with waterproof quality. That means it prevents the loss of water through the roots in the desert plant. It has waterproof quality. Let us see the epidermis of the stem. As plant grows older, as we know that suppose it is a neem tree, as it is growing older, then the thick stem becomes thicker, and the outer surface of the stem has brown colored bark. That is called bark. Now let us see how the bark is formed from the epidermis of the stem. From the epidermis of the stem, what happens? I am drawing a diagram, you can see. If this is the stem, suppose a thinner stem of the neem tree, a small seedling of the neem tree is grown, thinner stem is there, and these are the roots. Okay. Now in this, the outer surface is called epidermis. Okay. From the epidermis, now if these are the epidermal cells, here one meristeme, when it grows broader, when it grows older than broader, then here certain area will have secondary meristematic tissue on both the sides, secondary meristematic tissue. And as we know, meristematic tissue means cell division will occur and this part will grow wider, that is lateral meristeme. So if it is growing wider, then the cells which were on the outer surface, these are what? These are epidermis. These are epidermis. And this part is secondary meristematic tissue. So the secondary meristematic tissue will push the epidermis on the outer surface and it will separate the whole epidermis from the surface. So the inner surface will be covered by the meristematic tissue which will make it broader, and then outer surface the epidermal cell will be pushed out. Because of this, the whole layer of the epidermis gets separated from the meristematic tissue, and this whole layer, this layer forms the bark. It is called bark. It is also known as cork. So this is how the bark protects the inner conducting tissues. This is how the bark is formed. See, I have written here epidermis of the stem. Now as the plant grows older, the outer epidermis tissue undergoes certain changes. A strip of secondary meristeme replaces the epidermis of the stem. Epidermal cells on the outer surface are cut off from the secondary meristeme and form several layered thick cork or bark of the tree. Cells of the cork are dead and compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. The bark has a chemical called suberin in their walls that makes them impervious to gases and water. That means through the bark, the water cannot enter, it cannot harm the internal parts. This is all in video number 3. We will be meeting in the next video.